So welcome to day 131 of scaling my marketing agency to 10k a month. Today has been Monday the 11th of May. It's about 5 p.m. now when I'm recording this. To be completely honest, I'm recording it straight after the one you saw for yesterday. But I thought while most of the day has gone by now, and because I want to be like more on top of it, recording it while it's front of mind, I do this video now. Usually, my 12-hour days, I'd like to work like 6 a.m. till 6 p.m. Obviously on the business at the minute, because as I mentioned in yesterday's video, I've kind of almost been so like misaligned with like the business and almost like why I even started it, what I want from it, and all those things, because it's not like front of mind anymore. And I've just been like having the grind for so long with it. It's like that's the work that I'm going to do essentially until 6, straight after this for the next hour, which is, there's some like physical like steps I need to take with different clients and work like that, but I think it's important for me to put some time aside for this now. It's one of the most productive things for me to do, and obviously do that stuff in the morning from 6, when I have that time in the morning to not have to take meetings and can just do stuff like that. Tomorrow's calendar, by the way, from like work that I've put in today, looks very positive at the minute. For tomorrow I have a bit of a therapy session. I also have 2 sales calls, so really positive. Today I had a session with my business consultant Stephen, which was great. Really good session with him. We went through essentially the way he was. Like, it was a bit strange when we started working together, because I kind of saw it as, because I'm so much like like maybe I'm used to like the mentor meetings, where because they're very specific on the fact that obviously he knows all the answers to the questions of what I'm doing, because he does what I do in a sense, but has been obviously doing it 4 years compared to me 9 months of the same type of thing. It's very specific in terms of the questions I ask him. When you work with obviously a consultant, their main thing is you work through the sessions and they're trying to learn as much about your business and you as physically possible. And you do multiple sessions, and after all those, they build out like a bigger and bigger report and understanding of what your business is. And then like towards the end of, once you've done like 4 sessions or whatever, that's when they give you the, okay, I understand everything there is to know about the business and how to move it forward. This is the work that you need to go away and do and build out, and this is all the detail around it. Which is a bit different, because it's kind of like there's a lag time on it. Like you kind of have to wait like a month before all of the results on that change. But I guess when you're working with bigger businesses, that's kind of like the norm as well, because I'm so like small and just ready to be like, yep, tell me what I got to do, I'll implement it and we can grow. Because he's so used to, as a business consultant, working with really big companies, it's kind of like, okay, this is a block of work that's going to take like 3 months to implement, and then you'll see the benefits of that for the business 9 months after that and stuff like that. But for me, it's a case of, no, I just want to do all the stuff now, see it next month, and grow from there. Obviously, just being patient and taking it the way he's doing it, because, he obviously knows a lot more about it than me. He's kind of, doing this as like a near retirement thing to do, and he's been working in business, his whole working life. So I'll take his word for it, essentially, with what we're doing. That was like, it's supposed to be a 50-minute session, but he always goes over, and then we're texting in, or emailing essentially in between. And he's creating all these documents, and I then fill them out with any more detail that's missed from it, and anything like that. And he's essentially got this like model which he has built into ChatGPT on like how to scale a business, that he like is built into it, and then he just puts all the documents that I give to him and all the information that he learns from me on the calls into it, and then it just spits out details, and then anything that we miss, we just go into it in more depth. So I quite been enjoying those sessions, as much as they don't seem as productive as what the mentor ones do, like at all, to be honest. But I think it's really good, because we're starting to go into like what is like essentially like the microeconomics of, also the unit economics of the business, in terms of how much, what's the revenue per client, how much does it cost to fulfill on it. So literally like for my like VA, if we do like this many calls a month for that client and it's taken her this long, how much does that cost us to deliver based on how much we obviously charge for and all this stuff essentially. So yeah, that's how we do that essentially. And then I had a very difficult client call actually, like about 3 till 4. I don't know. I guess like in some ways I'm still a bit annoyed about it, but I don't know. It kind of what I've realised over the last few days, and maybe I'm having more perspective on now, and even from like the video that you saw for yesterday, is that everything I'm having at the minute is just like mental challenge after mental challenge, and because I'm at the point now where I'm like, no, I'm just gonna start like actually beating them rather than letting them like eat me up. I'm just kind of like, yeah, whatever. It is what it is. They were it was essentially a client feedback call that I had for the week 4 of ads. So I've obviously been running the ads essentially 28 days, and they were essentially upset with the results, even though like objectively the campaign was profitable. But essentially, like without going into too much detail about it, obviously for their sake, because they are like good guys and everything that work at the clinic, but they obviously set up the clinic. I don't think they have much experience within it, and they're just kind of getting practitioners together and so that they can obviously run the clinic. But essentially, they even admitted to me that they don't have any client acquisition process essentially apart from me and what I'm doing. So no wonder they're like, when we're not getting bookings, or we're not getting the amount of bookings that we would want, and we're not getting the return on the ads that we want, or whatever. But I think it's just a case of I don't know. There's so much I could say about it, but there's things that they're valid about the fact that certain things aren't within targets, but it's also really not as bad as what it was, and it just became a bit messy and scrappy at points. I thought it was going to go a lot worse than it did, to be honest, because at some points it felt like I was full on arguing with like some members of the team, but it was also like the main guy that's in charge of it seems to be very much aware of how they're like what they were saying wasn't that valid anyway, so it didn't really make much of a difference in terms of how the actual the boss of it or whatever saw me or the service. But yeah, I mean, as much as I'd like to say, like we give, an incredible service, and, a clinic should rely on us 100% to get their marketing and all their clients, it is a case of, for any business, you shouldn't, like, I don't know, especially when they're spending £10 a day per campaign or whatever. I don't think it should be the case that they're they're launching a new clinic they spent obviously tens and tens of thousands of pounds on, and then going and spending £20 a day on ads and expecting all the bookings in the world, because it just doesn't make any sense. But yeah, I mean, I'm obviously gonna do the work to put those into practice, like the essentially the changes that need to be made to the campaign, because there are things to improve upon, of course. I've had some problems with campaign like progress at the minute with like all of my clients essentially, so there are things I need to do for that. That's a massive part of why the anxiety got on top of me in the first place, so I just need to accept it and go through with it essentially. But yeah, it was just a bit like, come on, some of this stuff you're saying doesn't make sense or just isn't helpful to me or you, so what's going on? But hey, it is what it is. When if I didn't want to deal with clients, I would have done something like fucking e-commerce. I would have done drop shipping, but I didn't want to do that because I do at the core of me want to obviously make a difference to people's businesses, and I like the fact I do kind of like the people aspect side of it, as much as it can be a pain in the arse sometimes. being able to have a call with someone specifically that you've given a good result and then be happy about it is obviously a good thing. I just need to make sure that I do that and deliver on it so that I can have more of that positive experience. And look, it's not the end of the world if a few people don't have the best experience. You know, I do obviously feel bad for it, and I try and go into a lot of detail for the client results. But obviously, when you're starting a business, sometimes it's not the best, and things are difficult, things are stressful. But you come out on the other side of it, and if all the people I'm working with now weren't to get a good result, it's all a lesson in how I make sure that I can for everybody that I work with. And there are even guarantees in place for certain people to make sure they make a return on the investment, and they will. So it's really not the worst case ever. But of course, it's like I'm constantly being tested in this way ever since. Ever since like even over the weekend, I was just like, right, I just got to do this now and actually make the changes and confront it and everything. As soon as I kind of said that, it's like today happened and had that difficult meeting. But obviously that would have like come regardless. It hasn't just come because of it. But I feel like it is quite obviously funny that it did. But yeah, I'm not too fussed about it, to be honest, because like I said, we've only been running those ads a month. They are profitable and they could be better, and I'll just do the things I need to do to make them better. That's all I can say, really. But yeah, that's the update for today. I'll leave it there.